Hi, I'm Alex. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. I just chaotically decided that I am going to film my February reading wrap-up a little differently this month than I normally do. As much as I love a sit-down video, I think that my brain, my pregnancy brain, just makes it so hard to like fully remember everything I feel about a book in the moment. So I think we're going to do this a little vlog style, and I'm going to wrap up books as I finish them rather than doing it all at once at the end of the month. So my first book that I finished this month, today's February 6th. I finished this on February 3rd. Yeah, February 3rd was Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood. This is the first book in the Crescent City series. I rated it 4.5 stars. I'm doing a Crescent City reading vlog, but it is going to be full spoiler, so Siri on my computer is talking to me. Anyways, it's going to be full spoiler, so I totally understand if you did not watch it. But I absolutely loved this book. I rated it 4.5 stars, as I said. I think it might end up being my favorite Sarah J. Maas series, which I feel like I don't hear said a lot. But I really genuinely enjoyed it. It's such a thick book, but it kept me entertained the entire time. I love Hunt and Bryce. I love Bryce's dynamic with her brother, Rune. I love the fact that she dances to de-stress, because I was a competitive dancer growing up for 15 years, so I love that aspect of her, and that she works with all the cool books and artifacts and stuff. I think it's just really fun to read about, and obviously the storyline is amazing. So yeah, that was book number 1 that I finished, and I will come back and update you when I finish more. Alright, so it's later the same day that I started filming this, but I just finished Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I've been listening to the audiobook of this. I started it 2 years ago and was honestly just not able to get into it at the time. I don't know. I am rating it 3.5 stars. I think that I went into it expecting it to be much different, because I know it's what inspired Verity by Colleen Hoover, and a lot of people say that it's very similar, and I really enjoyed that book, so I think that's what I was expecting out of this, and then it wasn't that. Which, it's not that the book is not good, because it is, but I went into it with way different expectations than I thought I would. So Rebecca is about this guy who meets this young girl, and they get married, and it turns out his wife had just died in a drowning accident. And if you've read Verity, I'm sure you get the vibes. But I don't know, it was trying to be a mystery, but it read more like lit fic. I don't know. It was okay. For a book written in 1938 that is considered a classic, it definitely captured my attention a lot more than other books from that time period. But that's 2 books for the month down. So today's February 6th. I don't know if I said that or not, but I like to have an average of 1 book every 3 days, so we'll continue to see how this goes. Okay, so I finished 2 books since the last time I updated this video, the first of which being House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas, second book in the Crescent City series. I really can't say anything about it without spoiling the first book, but if you've already read them and want to know my in-depth opinions, there's a reading blog on it. So I finished that one on February 7th. It took me 4 days to get through, which isn't bad for an 800+ page book. And then this morning I finished Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. I feel like this book gets a lot of negative reviews, and I rated this 3.5 stars. I liked it a lot more than Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I thought this one was actually an original story. But it's about this girl who, well, she's not a girl, she's like 23 when it happens, or 33 when it happens, but her mom dies and she like takes over the resort that they run in Canada. And when she like goes back, this guy that she met like 10 years before is there to help with like consulting, and it goes back and forth between the two timelines. And I think a lot of people, the beef they have with this book is that it has the cheating trope in it, but I really don't think it does. To me, nothing happened that crossed a line. There was like some, say, like emotional turbulence at the very like most, but it was resolved and handled in a very like adult and like fair way, in my opinion. I think there's a difference between cheating, like emotional cheating, and spending time with someone for one day and realizing that maybe you're not in the right place in your life and you need to make changes. It was more that it was like a trigger event, but I don't know. This might be a spoiler, but she like went home and ended her relationship the next day. Like it's not like she like let anybody on, kept dating her boyfriend, you know? So I don't know. Take that how you will, but I liked this book a lot better than Every Summer After, so I'm glad that I gave Carly Fortune another chance. Currently reading House of Flame and Shadow and just started The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley, so those will be the next two books I check in with. Okay, I did not update this video yesterday because I was just like cleaning and baking for the Super Bowl, but on Saturday, February 10th, I finished two more books. The first one was House of Flame and Shadow. I finished like the last 30 pages of it. I loved this book. I rated it 5 stars, just like House of Sky and Breath. And I've seen a lot of people say that they didn't like it. I completely disagree. I obviously can't get like too far into it because of spoilers, but I think people say there's like too much world building and that they thought that they would be done with that because of Crescent City 1 and 2. And that Sarah J. Maas was like trying to turn Bryce into Aelin, which I also disagree with that. I think Bryce was very much her own character. I think there were elements of that going on, but I don't think it was like, we need to make this character Aelin. Like, I don't think it was that at all. Now, I may be a little biased on the world building front because I have my BA in political science and a master's in policy. So all of that was very interesting for me to read, and I'm so excited for House of Many Waters when it eventually comes out, probably 3 years from now. But I loved it. And the second book I finished was The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. Because I really liked the guest list, but I really didn't like the Paris apartment, so I was trying to figure out where in the Lucy Foley world I stand of if I like her or not. I rated this 3 stars. It was my least favorite. I don't want to say it was my least favorite because the Paris apartment was meh, but I just wasn't like super intrigued by it. I don't know. It was okay. It wasn't like super thrilling. It honestly wasn't even that mysterious. It was more just like drama between a friend group that resulted in a murder. I don't know. So that's The Hunting Party. Yesterday I listened to like 75% of an audiobook. I'm hoping to finish that today. And then I also started reading Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. So those will be the next 2 books that I update you on. Okay, so I have not updated this video all week, but today is Friday. On Monday, February 12th, I finished Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. I rated it 4 stars. I listened to the audiobook of this, and the format for me was really confusing at first, so I literally had to like download a sample of the Kindle version to see what it looked like, and then go into Barnes and see what it looked like, to like understand sort of what was going on. But once I was in it, I thought it was really interesting. It had like 8 different narrators or something, so it was a little all over the place at the beginning, but once it like settled down, I enjoyed the story and I rated it 4 stars. And then I just finished Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I rated this 3.5 stars. I think this is one of my least favorite Lauren Asher books, and I know everybody has like loved it, but to me there was spice for the sake of spice rather than advancing the storyline, which I know that people love, but it's just not my favorite in books. And there were no moments that made me like tear up or like giggle or like blush or anything in terms of the romance. So to me, it was one of the books I've liked from her the least. Although I have loved all of her books so far. It was really fun getting callbacks to the Dreamland Billionaire series and also a little bit to the Dirty Air series. But yeah, that's where I'm at in terms of reading right now. I only have 4 books left on my TBR for the month. Today is the 16th, and I am 50% through another one, so we'll see if I can finish it today. If not, definitely tomorrow, and then we'll move on from there. I'll keep you updated. Okay, if you saw my March TBR and just saw me in this spot in this outfit, pretend you didn't. But it is February 29th. I have not updated since February 16th when I finished Love Redesigned, and I have read quite a few books since then, so I wanted to go over those. And I know I started like every clip of this video with, I haven't updated this in so long, but whatever, it's actually been a long time this time. First one was Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I have wanted to read this book for so long. I finally got to it this month. I listened to the audiobook on Spotify and for some of it, and then read some of it physically. I rated this 4 stars. Powerless is like very Hunger Games, very Divergent. I've seen people compare it to Red Queen too, but I haven't read Red Queen, so I can't say one way or the other. But I enjoyed it a lot more towards the end. The first like 50% though, I just felt like I was reading Hunger Games in like a different font. So I am excited for both Powerful and Reckless to come out, but I'm really excited to see how the story continues. I really liked the characters in this, but it did feel very similar to Hunger Games, so just be aware if you're going to pick it up that that is a thing. The next book I read this month was The Teacher by Frida McFadden. This is Frida McFadden's new book. I rated it 3 stars. It made me very uncomfortable though. It didn't really feel like reading like a thriller in any way to me until like 80% into the book or something, and I didn't love it. I gotta say, I did not love it. I did read like 90% of it in one day and got through it really fast, but there were a lot of ick moments for me. I don't know. There's something about teacher-student relationships that are not the vibe. Next book I read was Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. This is the 3rd book in the Magnolia. No, this is the 4th book in the Magnolia Parks universe. I wanted to read this before Into the Dark was released, but didn't get to it. I've had this sitting on my shelf for almost a year, if not over a year, and I liked it a lot more than I did the first Daisy Hates book, but I am a Magnolia BJ stan, so I definitely prefer Magnolia's books to Daisy's. But I rated this 4 stars and enjoyed it. Again, you can't really say much without like spoiling the other books, but I thought it was an interesting continuation and definitely gave what I thought it was going to give based on reading Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. Next book I read was this behemoth, which is Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. This is over 700 pages, and like compared to the old books, like it's so much taller. I don't know if you can tell. And I thought that it was just gonna have like massive margins, but it didn't. So I ordered this from the UK. I got it from Blackwell's. I know you can order it on Amazon UK too. You get the original cover. So in the US, it's all the like new covers. I rated this 4.5 stars. I honestly read it way faster than I would have expected for it being such a long book. And the fact that it was the first book I had physically read in the book form in like 3 or 4 months. So I did enjoy that. I'm glad that I'm caught up. I feel very at peace with how Magnolia and BJ's story ended. I know there are going to be 2 more Daisy Hates books. I'm going to miss these characters. I'm sure they'll show up in the Daisy Hates books, but I'm glad that things ended the way they did. The next book I read was A Party of Two by Jasmine Guillory. I have read one other book by this author and thought it was like average, but I really loved this one. It's about a woman who is a lawyer, and she is like staying at a hotel and meets this guy at a bar, and then it turns out he's a senator, a US senator for the state of California, and they like hit it off. And yeah, it's a fun like story based in politics, and as someone who was a political science major, I really enjoyed it. I rated it 3.5 stars. Next book I read was Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory. My husband got me this in 2023 for Valentine's Day, so I wanted to finally read it. I don't rate like short stories, poetry, etc. I just don't think it's fair. I didn't really enjoy this though. I was expecting a lot more from it. I mean, it says that it's like a collection of short stories about love, and it felt like they were more about like breakups and cheating and not like love stories that I was expecting. So some of them are funny, some of them are just like, what am I reading? There's like some sci-fi sort of elements. I don't know. It's interesting if you need like, you want to pick it up and read like a quick 10-page thing and then put a book down and not think about it for a month. Like this is a good book for that. If you're doing like 75 hard, maybe like something like this would be good. And the last book I read, I finished this morning. That is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the second book to Divine Rivals. It came out in December. I went and bought it on release day, and I have been putting off reading it because I've read such negative reviews about it. But I actually, it's an unpopular opinion, but I liked it more than Divine Rivals. I rated it 4.5 stars, which I think is also what I rated Divine Rivals. It definitely has more of like a fantasy element. If you read the first one and said, why are they calling this a fantasy duology? There's no fantasy in it, like I did. This definitely has more of the like fantasy elements to it, which is nice. You of course see wyverns, because why would there not be wyverns in a fantasy book? And yeah, lots of interactions with the gods and the goddesses, and just very interesting. So I loved Ruthless Vows personally. But I know that it was not everybody's cup of tea. There were a lot of people who were disappointed with it. But that is going to be it for this video. I know I said I was going to try to not make it like a sit-down video, and here I am sitting down finishing it. I read 15 books this month, and I haven't done my like reading journal for this month yet, so I haven't sat down to figure this out. We read 15 books, 7,103 pages. That is craziness. All fiction. 40% of the books were over 500 pages, which is nuts. I gave out 2 5 stars. and my average rating for the month was 3.96 stars. So overall, not too shabby. I hope we have as good of a reading month in March, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.